And welcome to Thrift Shop Biography. This is the one about Michael J. Fox. Thank you for listening. Hello, Cleo.
Oh, hi, Richard.
How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you.
Good.
So what book have you been reading this week, as if I don't know?
I've been reading the book called Lucky Man by Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, I've been wanting to read this for ages, actually. What did you know about him before?
What did I know about him? I've always considered myself a fan of Michael J. Fox, and then when I've been reading this book, I realise I've only seen the Back to the Future film.
Is that it, really?
And that's it. I mean, they're very good, and that's a good reason to be a fan of his.
Well, they're iconic.
Yeah, they are.
But I realise as English people, we've missed out on loads because the stuff that was on TV, I don't think we got, did we? I never saw Family Ties. I never saw Spin City. Did you?
No, we never got it.
We didn't get it.
We got Cosby Show, Golden Girls, Moonlighting, but we never got Family Ties.
Yeah, so we missed out.
That's an interesting point, actually, because it was such a big show in America, wasn't it?
Yeah, why didn't they show it to us?
Probably didn't translate for some reason. I don't know.
Maybe. I've watched some clips, though. It looks great.
Oh, does it?
It really does. It looks relatable. I don't see what the problem is.
So we only, met Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
But my other favourite film was The Secret of My Success. I loved that. I got the soundtrack.
No kidding.
It's got yellow on it. Oh, yeah. Absolutely brilliant. I did really like him.
Is that 80s, 90s? Is
80s,
that like
still
an early
80s.
film for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's still 80s. Yeah, 89 or something. Brilliant. So, yeah, we all love him. I think he's universally loved.
Yeah, and do you know what? Just the last few years when I've seen him with Parkinson's disease and stuff, it's just endeared me to him. See how he continues to live his life and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's shit, what's happened to him as a young man.
Definitely.
And just seeing somebody cope with it and being able to read this book and really get into his head about it has been brilliant. But before I read the book, just seeing him living with it, I really, really like him. I just do.
Me too. And this book, it really shows you how he turned it into a positive. And he actually feels lucky because he's managed to do something with his life that's more than just fluffy films. You know, he's now a massive advocate for Parkinson's and he's changed a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
It's very positive. Yeah.
So should we just get straight into it?
Yeah, we might as well, yeah.
Okay,
let's go back to the past. Hey!
Michael J. Fox.
Born in 1961 in Edmonton, Canada.
Hey, does he say what the J is for?
Yes, he does. He says that when he finally got an agent, they said, there's already a Michael Fox. So he added a letter.
No, I know why he did, but
he nicked it from some character that he liked out of something. I didn't clock it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's just some character.
Yeah, I just wondered whether it was his middle name, but no, yeah, okay.
No, it wasn't.
All right.
And I think he might have been A. He was going to do A, but then he thought it was a bit Canadian because they all go A. I can't do a good impression of Canadians. But
Or people might think that he was Michael a Fox.
Yeah. They might think that. Could have been very confusing. Anyway, he was born in Edmonton, Canada, but he didn't particularly live there because he had a military dad, so they moved around all the time.
Yeah, didn't they?
So he didn't particularly grow up there. It's amazing how those military kids sort of do become a travelling person in your adult life, I feel, if you don't have a proper grounding.
Oh, yeah, right. I didn't think of that.
It happens a lot. Yeah, his dad had a bit of an upbringing because in the Great Depression, his father had had to take a job in the military that had taken him away from home. His mum couldn't handle being a single mother and had hit the beer halls. And so his dad and another sibling had to bring up the younger siblings on their own. So he'd had to grow up fast and he was very small and he had dreams of being a jockey. And he was doing quite well, but then when the war ended, all the men came back from war and they all just hopped on horses and left him far behind. So he just really wasn't going anywhere fast. And his younger brother died of meningitis when he was 16. So he joined the army for want of anything better to do at the age of 18. So Michael J. Fox's dad is one of those people that had dreams that didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's quite strange how often that happens, where that sort of hangs in the air and then their sons or daughters take on those dreams and there's a weird bitterness because they had the opportunity that the parents didn't have.
Yes.
And yet those parents created the opportunity, so they can't have a go at them for it. You know what I mean? So that's his dad.
His dad is called William William Fox.
Yes.
And his mum's called Phyllis. Phyllis the Fox. Yeah. And they've got 4 kids, right? Karen, Stephen, Jacqueline, and then Michael in 1961.
Yes.
And then 3 years later, they have the little sister, Kelly, in 1964. So there's 5 kids.
Yeah, it's a lot of kids.
It is.
But the littlest one actually really is Michael, because he's ever so small.
I know, and he says that Kelly is born 3 years later, and then when she's 2 or 3 and Michael is 5 or 6, he says he has a memory of when they went trick-or-treating and everybody kept saying, oh, you're twins.
Yeah.
So that's already quite weird that his little sister is the same size as him.
Yeah.
And it's not that she's big, it's because he's small. He's not growing.
No, he's very small. They tried to give him drugs, growth hormone drugs, when he was young. And his dad said no. They tried to give him all sorts of different drugs because he was small, hyperactive. And his dad always said no, which is good because it really paid off, him being small. And to do with his height, right, at one point when he wins an Emmy, way later in his life, he said, he made a joke and said, I feel 4 foot tall, and it got a big laugh. And then right at the end of the book, he says, won another Emmy, he said, I feel 5 foot tall. Well, no, he said he wished he had, because that would have been right, because he said, I feel exactly my height, no more, no less. I now know exactly who I am, and I'm fine with it. So I'm like, so are you 5 foot? Because you Google it and it says he's 5'4". 5 foot is extremely smaller. But that's what he says he is. I think the internet must be wrong.
Yeah, there's no way of us checking.
It's good to know, because 5 foot really is tiny. Except that he says in his own book, that's exactly what I am.
And he does look small in films.
Yeah.
Whereas people like Tom Cruise, who are probably shorter than average, they always make him look like the size of the average man, whereas in fact he's not. But with Michael J. Fox, he always looks smaller.
Yes.
So perhaps that is because he is genuinely very small and they can't make him look taller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which I could see really did pay off for him, like when he got the part later on as a 12-year-old. But we'll get to that. Yeah.
But anyway, they wanted to give him growth hormones. So can you literally give a small child growth hormones that makes them bigger?
I don't know. I'm going to say yes. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have offered them.
And they wouldn't be called growth hormones.
No.
That's quite bizarre, isn't it?
It is, really.
It's like a pill that can make somebody bigger.
Yeah, that's like Alice in Wonderland.
Like Viagra.
Yeah. Oh.
Height Viagra.
So, yes, they were all moving about a lot. So he had 2 major influences in his life. One was his dad, who he said was really grounded and, had expectations. You work hard, you do well, all that normal stuff. And then he also had this nana, that was his mum's mother. And his nana had this really amazing thing happen to her, because in 1942, both of her sons were at war, and she'd got a telegram saying one of them was missing in action, presumed dead, and she'd had a small heart attack at that. And then a while later, she got the same telegram about her other son, and everyone was really, really worried about her health. But then one day she had a dream, and she saw this white thing float down, and she opened it up, and it was a letter, and it said her son's name, Stuart, on it. And she said, oh, no, it's fine. He's okay. I've had this dream. He's absolutely fine. And it turned out a few weeks later that he had parachuted and been captured, but it was a white parachute. It drifted to the ground. He'd been captured and he was fine. But so after that, they all thought that she had psychic powers, and everyone believed everything she said. And this has a massive influence on his life, because when everyone said, oh, young Michael is a bit hyper and he's a bit weird and he's very artistic and we need to get him into shape, Nana said, no, he isn't. He's special and he's going to be famous and you've got to let him be who he is. And everyone sort of was in awe of her psychic powers. And that really affected his life, to the point where his parents even let him leave school when he sort of started off in acting, without graduating, because they remembered that Nana said, he's going to be fine, he's special. Without her psychic powers and her belief in him, he might not have been free to become who he became. That's a thing. That's a real thing.
I wonder as well, because, they say that he was very hyperactive and stuff, and he doesn't call himself like a problem child, but I think they were a bit confused at what they can do, because they've got 5 kids and one of them's a bit weird.
Yeah.
He's tiny and he's completely hyperactive. And I think some of that might be, oh, okay, Nana's told us he's going to be okay. Because if the dad's not letting him take medication, Nan's psychic powers is like all they've got to give them hope for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
But he is very creative and musical at school, isn't he? I mean, music kind of comes first, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does come first. He learns the guitar, he's in a band. Honestly, I think he's a bit brilliant, even though he never says it about himself. But he said he's really good at school. He was going to do hockey. That's how he was going to become someone, because all Canadians love hockey. And he was really good at that. And he was really good at writing and also drawing. He said he's amazing at drawing. He made cartoons up all the time. He could copy whole books that he just looked at, and he'd draw caricatures of people that sometimes offended them, which means they were good. So yeah, music, drawing, acting, writing, he was really good at, and very sporty.
You see, he's one of these energy people again, isn't he?
He is.
He's got a high energy.
Absolutely one of them. High energy.
All of these people we read about, they all have high energy, and he is a real contender.
Yes, that's the common denominator. We used to say it was a messed up family background. It's a bit of that, but it is energy every single time. Yeah. You can't become a someone if you just sat on your sofa. That's for sure.
That's why we're nobodies, because we just sit and read all day.
Yeah. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was in a band. And like their band, they were actually playing at high schools and Navy bases and clubs and all sorts.
Yeah, so they were good.
They must have been good.
They were kids, but they were good because they were getting paid gigs and stuff when they were still young, in their early teens.
Yeah, and then he was in every single high school show, to the point where he even joined their touring troupe. He name checks his teacher, Ross Jones, and he sounds so cool. I feel like we should as well, because he said he was an anti-teacher, one of those people who was just a real person, and always said to him, you could make it in this acting lark, you've got it. And he was like, shut up, as if it's a job, Yeah,
right.
But he sounded so cool, this bloke. And he's actually the person that finally saw the newspaper clipping that said there's a big open audition for a sitcom that a Canadian broadcasting company, CBC, are putting on. And you'd be perfect for it because they want a bright 12-year-old kid. And he was like, well, you're 15, you totally pass for 12. And that's when it pays off, because you'll be the brightest 12-year-old kid in the whole room, And I Googled it. There's no way he looks a day older than 12. He's a total tiny kid. He's even got a kind of tiny voice, because he obviously, even his vocal cords hadn't got bigger. You know what I mean? He is like the most intelligent, switched on, amazing little 12-year-old kid you've ever seen. He's actually a 15-year-old smoking, drinking teenager who drives badly. So it's brilliant. That's obviously how he got that job.
I think as well, casting directors and show producers and stuff would much prefer to have a 15, 16-year-old playing a 12-year-old than have an actual 12-year-old on set.
Yeah, definitely. It's much safer. Yeah, and really much more reliable. Drive himself to work.
That was a cattle call, like a massive open audition.
Massive.
That he went to, that was just advertised in the paper, right? And his drama teacher said, oh, you should go to this. So he literally went in with everyone. Yeah. As a complete unknown.
Yep.
And he got the job. Yeah,
before that summer, he'd had a job in an office for 2 months and he'd got paid $600 for the whole time. But then after that, he was on $600 a week, which is obviously, he said he made, and then he got the lead part in a TV film as well the same summer. So he got $6,000 that summer.
Wow.
So he's in the money.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of money for a 12-year-old. For a 15-year-old.
Yeah, 12.
Maybe they pay him 12-year-old wages.
Far more than his dad earned at that point already. Yeah, when he turned 16, he starts high school, but he's already got loads more acting jobs, commercials, radio. He's in plays at night after school. He said it's just ridiculous because he was flunking high school drama in the daytime whilst getting paid to do drama in his spare time.
Yeah.
And it's
almost like as soon as the industry found this 15-year-old that can play a 12-year-old, all of a sudden he's really in demand, isn't he?
Yes.
Because they want somebody who's not 12 to play a 12-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's amazing that he's just kind of doing really well straight away, essentially from an open audition cattle call.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah, and he absolutely loves it. He's loving the life. So when he's 17, right, his parents let him drop out of school thanks to Nana's psychic powers, who has in fact died at this point, which is massively tragic to him. But they still hold her beliefs as gospel and let him leave school. And his dad actually does a road trip with him all the way to LA from Canada. They're near Vancouver.
Yeah.
All the way to Hollywood. He said one agent nearly doesn't offer him to be his client because they said, sorry, but we didn't realise you were disabled. They thought he was wearing orthopaedic shoes, but they were actually his 1970s platform shoes. And he realised with horror that Canada was a bit behind the fashions of America. And he chucked the shoes away that night. But he got offered. Every single agent that he went to offered him to sign him. That's amazing.
He's very castable.
Yeah. And they're sending him to auditions straight away to see what casting directors say. Straight away, I mean, he was in. So he had that thing where he thought he was taking off, and he was for a bit, but then it all ended. Because he got a Disney film, Midnight Madness, never heard of it.
Well, he says the less said about it, the better. So I'm imagining it's not one of the greatest Disney films.
Yeah, yeah. Terrible. And then, loads. He's moved to Beverly Hills now. He's 18, so, he can live on his own. Yeah, he's getting loads of bits of work, and he's guest star and this and that and all that. And then after 3 years of just chipping away, he says it all dries up and I sort of realise what it must be like. At first, all the casting agents and everybody are like, who is this new young fellow? Wow, he's so bright and great. And after 3 years, every single audition, they were like, oh, him again. He's not fresh anymore. And so it all just starts drying up. And he actually thinks he might have to go back to Canada. And he gets that massive back tax bill. The IRS come after him. He hasn't paid tax on any of his stuff. And now he's broke and he's got management accountants to pay, agents to pay. He's selling off his sofa.
And he's got that awkward thing that he's in America on an acting visa.
Yes.
So he can't go and work in a restaurant or wait tables like all the other actors.
No.
Because he can... Who else? We read somebody else. Was it Rebel Wilson?
That's right. Yeah, you literally can't even be a barman.
Yeah. You can't. So if you're not getting acting work, you literally can't pay your rent.
No.
And that's what's happening here.
Yeah. And this is 1982 now. And he was absolutely at the end. He really was about to leave. He could barely eat. I mean, literally living off tins of beans sort of thing. When he went to an audition for a new sitcom pilot. Matthew Broderick was up for his part, but he turned it down. And there was someone really advocating for him, but the main producer, it was Brandon Tartikoff. He's cropped up before.
Yes, Tartikoff.
A few times. He was head of programming. Where is it? NBC or somewhere like that?
Yeah, I can't remember who.
And he hated Michael J. Fox. He said he's too short. You won't believe that those are his parents. But anyway, everyone else fights for him. And then the audition, he just totally nails it. He has them howling. And he gets the part for the pilot, and it's Family Ties, of course. So you never watched it? No, we couldn't.
I know of it, and I even knew of it at the time because I was so into
Me too.
TV and popular culture and stuff. But no, we never had it, and of course we didn't have the internet or anything, so we just never saw it. But it's interesting now you've brought that up. I wonder why it never came over to the European market when other American sitcoms did and were very successful over here. But Family Ties just didn't travel.
No, it didn't, did it?
I wonder if we had an English equivalent.
Yeah, right.
And so it didn't travel for that reason.
Yeah, I'm sure we'd have loved it. But he said he wasn't even supposed to be the main part, but the pilot episode kind of featured him, and he really improvised a lot. And the writers loved him, and so they sort of developed the character, and he really became the main focus, which is cool.
Do you know what? Isn't it interesting, right? We read sometimes that when actors go off script, the writers really hate it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Michael J. Fox, he's still young at this point, but he's confident enough, and I guess hyperactive enough.
Yeah.
He's got all that energy that he does just throw in quips and improvises. And yeah, they seem to love it. Whereas I kind of read that and I kind of think, gosh, you're on a pilot. This is your first week on set and you're there. And the writer's room have literally given you a script and you're just playing around with it. I think you've got to have an enormous amount of confidence to do that.
Yeah, you're right. He obviously does.
And, yeah, no, but then it elevated his character's position in the show because it kind of then just naturally evolved that he was the main character in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Brilliant.
It just goes to show, doesn't it? You've got to, like, stick your head above the parapet.
Yes, you do.
Which is hard when you're 5 foot tall.
Yes, it is. I've got to say, you know that Brandon Tartikoff that was really fighting to not have him in that part?
Yeah.
He actually said one of his arguments is, well, maybe the kid is okay, but I'm telling you, this is not the kind of face you'll ever see on a lunchbox. What a brilliant thing to say. Because I can just picture all the lunchboxes, can't you?
Yeah.
Also, isn't that mad that you're actually like crafting a cast that you might even consider would end up on a lunchbox? That's part of your casting criteria. It's madness.
Right.
But the producer, Gary Goldberg, said, look, I send this kid off with 2 laughs and he comes back with 5. So that is his skill.
Yeah, right.
He's real value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, he does a few naff films on the side as well, and one of them being Teen Wolf, which he sort of seems to describe as being a really terrible choice, really low budget, and he wished he wasn't in it.
Well, he said it was a low budget.
Yeah, but it was kind of legendary, wasn't it, when we were kids?
Yeah, but I think it was legendary after the fact. I think he filmed it before Back to the Future, but then I think it kind of just was scheduling and stuff. I think it actually was released after Back to the Future.
Oh.
So he had his star power.
Right, that makes sense.
Or even maybe the same time as Back to the Future. But I think without Back to the Future, I don't think Teen Wolf would have been such a big hit.
That's what I thought. When some people have a first single, but then they have a hit single, and then everyone goes back to the other one. It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see it?
Yes, I must have. Yeah, wasn't it like Thriller?
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I wonder, actually, it would have been just after Thriller. So I bet Teen Wolf was kind of written after the success of Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Do you reckon? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It was pretty tame, wasn't it? It wasn't really scary.
Yeah, it was a teen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a comedy.
Or for young people, anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't like an American Werewolf in London.
No. And anyway, so whilst he was filming that, he heard of this Back in the Future or something film, he says, that Spielberg was filming, and he was like, oh, I wish I was in that. That sounds loads better. But Eric Stoltz got the part. Did you know this?
Yeah, I did. This is quite well known in the lore.
I didn't know that.
Oh, really? Yeah, they almost filmed the whole thing with him.
Oh, my God.
There's footage online.
Ah. Well, it's lucky Eric Stoltz got famous, otherwise he'd be so depressed.
Oh, he was gutted at the time. I've read about this. There's like articles about it.
Oh, I had no idea. So Eric Stoltz got the part, Michael J. Fox's part in Back to the Future, and they filmed what? You say nearly all of it, or at least half of it?
Yeah, a lot of it.
With him in it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, this is terrible. And then they decided he wasn't the right casting after all, and Michael J. Fox was now free from filming Family Ties because they had wanted him, but the producer of Family Ties said, I'm sorry, but I can't lose him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's really bad. They didn't even tell him that.
But even Michael J. Fox says that's fair
like
enough.
Steven Spielberg wanted Michael J. Fox, but the producer of Family Ties said, no, you're not having him. So then they cast Eric Stoltz.
Yeah. They actually went, no, this film isn't working with him. We need Michael J. Fox. Waited till he'd finished Family Ties and then reshot all the scenes. And Universal had agreed that they'd fund it, all the reshooting, as long as they still met the deadline of a summer release. Can you even imagine how hard they had to work to smash out all those scenes? It must have been filming so fast. Plus, he was filming nights and then doing Family Ties by day, rehearsals.
I mean, if they had already had a lot of the film filmed, then they basically just need to find the scenes where it's recognisably Eric Stoltz and change that with Michael J. Fox, I suppose. I mean, what do I know?
That's quite a lot. You'd have to still set up the whole set.
And it's before CGI. You literally have to reshoot it, don't you?
You'd have to reshoot the whole bloody thing and re-put the sets back up or get the car park ready again. You know, all that stuff. Oh, yeah, it was all built, wasn't it, Universal Studios? I actually went to Universal Studios in 1990 and they still had the Back to the Future set there.
Oh, wow.
I bet it's gone now. I bet it's got Harry Potter there now or something. But
oh, no, I imagine it's still there. It's a massive, iconic film. They wouldn't get rid of that.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do.
Hope so, because it was amazing to see it. Yeah, God, that's weird, isn't it? 1990 wasn't that long after it was filmed. At the time, it felt like years later.
Yeah.
Weird. But anyway, I mean, he says he didn't know whether he was up or down, and at some point he found himself backstage at Family Ties in a total panic because he was at the props table and he couldn't find Marty McFly's camcorder. And he was actually backstage of Family Ties.
Yeah, I can imagine that if he's doing like Family Ties from 9 in the morning and then at 5 he's going off to be Marty McFly until 2 or 3 in the morning.
You wouldn't know which way's up. By the way, I saw the band McFly this week.
Did you?
And they are named after Marty McFly, yeah.
Where did you see them?
They were at the TV Awards thing. They were the band.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then also, this week I watched Coldplay live at Glastonbury. You know, he came on, Michael J. Fox came on. It was only last year, and he played guitar with them. They said, thanks to our absolute hero, we only formed a band because of watching Back to the Future.
No, did they say that?
Coldplay. They said that in that Glastonbury gig, yeah. And so he's our total hero.
I'm sorry, that's a really shit reason to start a band. Come on, you start a band because you listen to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, not because you saw somebody play guitar in a science fiction film.
Yeah, I know.
No, that's why Coldplay are crap. I mean, isn't it? That's so stupid. I don't even believe it. They just said that to be nice to Michael J. Fox. They're lying. I don't believe it.
Oh, it's iconic. It really is. It really changed the world, that film.
Yeah, it's a very good film. It really is.
The other two are all right, but the first one's amazing.
It deserves its place in classic cinema history for sure.
It's absolutely brilliant.
And so, Michael J. Fox is also particularly good in it.
He really is. Yeah, he really, really is. And, he said after that, he knew he was going to go big, but he didn't really understand that classic thing where you feel like you've sold your soul because suddenly he's mega famous and everywhere he looks is his face and he's on magazines, and he's saying things like, it's good to be the king. But then he's also conflicted because, everybody's thinking you're amazing and everyone's giving you stuff. And he said in an interview, I love Moosehead beer, that's Canadian, and then a truck arrives full of Moosehead beer. And he goes, but now I've got it all. Everyone's giving me more.
I love Moosehead beer too.
It is nice, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Do you think that's
me, son? We love Moosehead beer, don't we, Richard?
But he does say, because he's on Family Ties, which is like the number 2 TV show, I think.
Yeah, they're on after The Cosby Show, which put their ratings up to the top.
There you go. So he's on the second biggest TV show and he's in the number 1 box office film.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
He's huge.
And his face is everywhere. And he says everywhere he looks, I saw my image reflected back at me. But there was one thing, none of them were a true representation of my real self.
Yeah.
So that's that image thing that we get with a lot of famous people in these books. The persona that's on the world stage, people often feel quite disconnected from it.
Yeah, they really do. And then they get imposter syndrome.
But I guess that Michael J. Fox would, because he's actually older than we think.
Yeah, that's true.
Because even when how old is the character? How old is Marty McFly?
Oh, well, he's at high school, isn't
15?
he? Yeah, he's at school.
So he's 15, 16. But at this point, Michael J. Fox is in his 20s, right?
25, yeah, about 25, 24.
So that's why he doesn't feel like it's himself, because he's seeing a 16-year-old character.
Yes, they're selling a teenager, yeah.
And Teen Wolf, he's a teen. It's in the title. So he's actually a 20-something masquerading as a child. He's a pervert. He's a grown man at high school. It's like Grease. Do you remember when they filmed Grease? Like everybody is much older than they're supposed to be.
Oh, they really are, but they're noticeably older, whereas you wouldn't spot it with Michael J. Fox. Yeah, so, and everyone's treating him like he's someone, and imposter syndrome, you sort of know that you're just this kid from Canada, and does anyone know that yet? And he's terrified of being found out. And of course, he says, part of the reason he hits the party circuit is because you're terrified of being found out. And the other part is that you're having the time of your life. And it's 2 parts of one coin, isn't it? He's drinking, he's partying, he's just... Yeah, was it Rob Lowe when they meet on the bus supporting Jane Fonda?
Oh, yeah, they were on political...
Because they're going around...
Yes, it was in Rob Lowe's book, yeah.
Yeah, and they got absolutely... hammered.
Actually, you're right. Michael J. Fox doesn't even talk about that in his book.
Yeah, well, he just sort of brushes over a whole huge party era without mentioning. He probably can't remember because he constantly references terrible hangovers. He probably can't remember the half of it. But Him and Rob Lowe had a flipping whale of a time on Jane Fonda's bus.
Didn't they?
Yeah, and yes, he's got a billion stories that he is not telling us, obviously.
But he does tell us someone about Princess Diana, and I did really feel for him.
Yeah, I did.
At the English premiere of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And he's been drinking beer beforehand, before he meets Diana. And he meets her in the lineup. And then when they go into the cinema to watch the film, he realises he's sat directly next to Diana.
Yeah.
The only thing is, as soon as the film starts, he's desperate for a pee.
Like, desperate.
And he says that he just can't go because he sat next to Diana and it would be so rude.
Yeah, well, they've actually done royal protocol and you're not allowed to say anything to her until she says it first or whatever. So it's not even an option.
And so he sits there in agony.
Yeah. So he said two of the most...
No, I've been in that position before with a full bladder. It's not nice.
I have, but not sat next to Princess Di.
Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't sat next to Princess Di either. So not exactly that position.
He's literally sweating
But
it
no,
out.
that would be excruciating.
Oh, I know.
Do you know what? I think I'd actually just pee myself in the sea. So this is a life that he's got. He's the biggest star on the planet and he gets to sit next to Diana at his premiere and stuff. I mean, that's huge.
It really is. He says everyone's amazing to him. You're in this club where all the celebrities know you and everyone's lovely to you and you're lovely to them, except Cher.
Oh, yeah. Cher was...
He says... He meets Cher backstage somewhere and he goes, "Hi, I'm Mike Fox." And she just looks at him disparagingly. She goes, "I know who you are."
Yeah.
And just walks away.
But he says he wonders because she had filmed Mask with Eric Stoltz.
Oh.
Which would have been his film before Back to the Future. He wonders whether she held him responsible for Eric Stoltz losing that job. But she was really off with him, yeah.
Yeah, what's her excuse for every other story you hear where she's totally off with someone?
I don't know, what is it?
She's just a legendary, excellent bitch who we love. She's just hilarious. I know who you are. Oh, I can't hate her. I can't hate her. I just think she's ace.
She's got a history of liking younger guys. Perhaps that was her way of playing hard to get.
Oh.
No.
Anyway, in 1985, Family Ties cast Tracy Pollan as his girlfriend. And it wasn't love at first sight as such, although she is gorgeous and they're about the same height. It was very good casting. But she saw through his bullshit, which is what made him love her. You know, and she was like, one of the first things she said to him is, "You're a total fucking asshole," when he had been an asshole. That was what totally switched him onto her. Yeah, and she saw that he was drinking too much and partying, and she was sort of telling him about John Belushi and saying, "Look, you know, this stuff can ruin you." And it's the first person he'd ever talked to him like that.
Yeah, no, it's a bit... I kind of, when he was describing her, and he clearly fell in love with her quite quickly, but the stuff that he was saying about her, I kind of thought, gosh, she's a real... she's a real buzzkill.
Yeah.
Like, she's so... Like, she just seems like she doesn't have a sense of humour. She seems like, you know, telling him to stop. Who does she think she is? She's just somebody who's come on to act on this show. And she's... I find it weird.
Yeah, I guess. But on the other hand, he's probably not telling us about all the laughs, all the... when they went out for food, all those times. He's just telling us the stuff that really hit home.
That she stood up to him.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, it worked.
Yeah, and sort of pointed out that it was potentially a bit of a problem. Yeah, and maybe he should rein it in a bit. So those are the things he remembered.
That also tells us something about him, actually, that's the type of partner that he wanted. Because I think lots of people who are high on the celebrity wave, who are getting everybody saying yes to them, they'd want a real subservient girlfriend, basically, who would stay at home and stuff. But actually, he's after somebody who's very much his equal. She's an actor on the show. And she's not taking any of his shit.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, they're together to this day. That's 40-odd years later. And she's been amazing.
Yeah.
They've had 4 kids. You know, she's looking after him. But before that, she was there for him the whole way anyway, you know. He
does actually say, this is a quote, "She was particularly disturbed by the amount of drinking I was doing." Now, from reading the book, he says, okay, I partied and stuff. But he doesn't actually say that he was drinking to a particularly disturbing level. So when I read that, I kind of thought, oh, she seems to be a real killjoy. But actually now I'm thinking about that he says that she was particularly disturbed. Perhaps actually he was off his head a lot, and perhaps everybody else was putting up with it because he's a massive star. And perhaps she was the one that said to him, hey, you need to look after yourself.
Yeah, well, he does describe himself going up to his family home at Christmases, getting absolutely smashed, throwing up, passing out, and that's what he did every time he went home.
Yeah, you don't do that on a family Christmas, do you?
And he does describe some terrible behaviour at various times where, he's really letting her down, letting his kids down.
It's that Moosehead beer, isn't it? They sent him too much.
Free beer. Yeah.
And he's only 5 foot tall, so he only needs like a can.
Massive lightweight, yeah.
Shit-faced.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there. It's sometimes between the lines. It's sometimes in the lines. And a lot of terrible hangovers and, forgotten partying, That's why he can't write the stories. But also, he doesn't want to talk to you about parties. He wants to talk about Parkinson's.
Yeah, which actually, this is the biggest surprise of this book, is that the Parkinson's disease started really early, like years before any of us knew.
Yeah.
I would say almost at the height of his fame, right? He was noticing things happening.
Definitely. He's now met his future wife in 1985-86. And then he does a few films, 1987 is Secret My Success, Bright Lights, Big City, 1988. And he's filming...
they get married, don't they?
They get married, in Vermont, where they have a bit of a home. He's in Casualties, a few good films. So, and he does Family Ties all the way through to 89, all that time. But he says, yes, it was only in 91 that he has his first finger twitch and then actually finds out he's got Parkinson's. But he says, looking back, it was in 1985 when he filmed Back to the Future 1 and he did that Johnny Be Good scene with the guitar and everything. Then in 1989, when he had to reprise that scene because they went back to the Future or whatever, he found it really, really hard to do that scene. And it really, really hurt him for weeks afterwards. He was absolutely exhausted. So he now looks back and realises, 4 years after his first big hit, he was already suffering from Parkinson's. He just didn't know it.
Wow.
He only knew it when his finger started twitching in 91. But his body was breaking down by 1989.
Gosh.
It's crazy. That was the biggest shock of this book. I didn't realise how early.
No, I didn't. So he's still, what is he, about 28 at this point? He's still in his late 20s, isn't he?
I mean, in 91, he was 30. When he actually got it diagnosed,
right,
and it had obviously been there for a while, he was 30. But it's because once you twitch, that's the only time you actually usually go to the doctors, he said. And one of the most annoying things was when he read up about it, that's what they said. And he felt like he was just one of many and he was predictable and he hated that. And he realised that he could hide it because they'd give him some pills and it would control the twitching. So he chose to hide it. He hid it from the public, but he also sort of hid it from himself. And it created this major isolation between him and Tracy, his wife, and his son. They had his son, Sam. Mm-hmm. And he just totally ostracised himself and just became a massive drunk, basically, and carried on being in films.
He's drinking to get away from the worry of it all.
Yeah. And, the films he was in, he says they were all crap, but I wonder if he was crap. If he lost his energy, if he'd have been really on it, would they have been better?
Okay.
I wonder.
No, but that's just him being self-deprecating, I think. I mean, it's subjective, isn't it? I think what he means is that he didn't really have any box office hits at that time.
Yeah, he didn't, no.
But it doesn't mean the films are rubbish, does it?
No, I suppose not.
He's out of sorts anyway, isn't he?
He's out of sorts and he was making bad choices because he was just going for the money, because he was panicking a bit, because the neurologist told him when he was 30 that he probably had 10 years left to work.
Right.
And he said it was true almost to the day.
Wow.
Which is nuts. He did work for the 10 years, but the last 3 years it was extremely difficult by his account to hide the shaking.
Well, he's really having to manage his symptoms on set with like the medication and stuff. And he got so good at it.
Yes.
This is something I've learned so much about Parkinson's.
Yes.
And especially young onset Parkinson's, which you never really hear about.
No.
And he would have like medication if he was feeling a twitch coming on that would help him manage his twitches and stuff. And if there was a scene coming up, he'd almost have to like really precisely time taking the medication, hope that the scene starts on time, and do the scene, a few times
Yeah.
before the medication wears off. He's really getting it down to a fine art, isn't he? To hide it from everyone.
Yeah, and then he says as an actor, he was almost putting all of his effort as an actor into hiding the Parkinson's and not into actually doing the job. And yet, everything he was in started to be successful. Well, he was making better choices.
Oh, he went back to TV, didn't he?
Yeah, he said, I've got to go back to TV because then, firstly, I can just live in New York and not travel. That was the main thing, and he could be with his family. And he got sober as well. Once he got sober and got a therapist, and he became his old self, and he got his sense of humour back and stopped being angry all the time. And then he got on with his wife again. And that's when his wife said, all right, let's have some more kids then, because you're the man I married. So then he had a family that he wanted to be there for. And he started making sensible decisions. Yeah, and the TV was Spin City, and it was the same producer as did Family Ties. So he was back at home, really. And it was really successful.
We didn't get that either, did we?
We might have. I've heard of it. But I just never watched it, so I don't know.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh, so you think that we had it, we just didn't watch it, so I just assume we never had it over here.
I can't be sure. on that. I don't know.
Was it around the same time as Friends and Will and Grace? And
yeah,
stuff?
Then you'd have thought we'd have watched it.
90s.
Yeah.
Maybe we did get it.
And just didn't watch it. Don't know. I don't know. Because yet again, we were lapping up everything American at that time.
But it was a hit,
Why
wasn't
we
it?
have watched that? It was a hit, but it was politics, wasn't it? It's based around politics, so maybe we wouldn't have been interested in American politics, although we all watch West Wing now.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, it was a hit. He could live in New York, he could manage it. He's also invested in it. He's so even when he left, he carried on making money from it. It carried on. But he was putting so much effort into controlling it. I actually watched a bit of it, and you can see, when you know what you're looking for, you can see it. You can see him putting his hands in his pockets all the time.
Oh, really?
And slightly gurning a little bit and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, but I watched a sort of later episode. But his hands are in his pockets all the time. Or he said...
So has he still not told anyone at this
No,
point?
he hadn't told anyone for years, and he was leaning against walls or picking up props. He was just constantly...
Wow.
Just disguising all this movement in his body.
That's honestly, to know that now, and to know that young man, he's still a young man.
Yeah, he's in his 30s.
To know that he's dealing with that, not having to kind of disguise it, but also have to be going through it.
I know.
It's so worrying. God. And knowing that he's only got about 10 years left.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So he's still going to be a young man when he can't do that anymore.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, I feel so bad for him. Well, I shouldn't feel bad for him. He'd tell me off.
Yes.
If I said I feel bad for you, he'd tell me off because he says he's lucky.
And he's,
to have it.
yeah, well, he says the gift of getting Parkinson's is that he was on this road to ruin, partying and all that, and he didn't appreciate his life at all. And it made him appreciate his life and make sensible decisions, value his family. And then ultimately, he had to come out because he couldn't hide it anymore.
Yeah.
And they were sort of onto him a little bit. So he did publicity, but he's absolutely terrified that he would lose his jobs, that people would look at him like a victim, all of that stuff. When he came out with this overwhelming lot of love from the world, from all of the people, he realised he was absolutely loved and people didn't judge him. And then he got all these letters from people who said, I'm a businessman, I'm hiding my Parkinson's because I'm really worried. I need the job to support my family, I'm terrified of this, that.
Wow.
I don't want to be seen as an ill person. And, he became a spokesman, especially for young onset, like you say, because it's an old person's, because my gran had Parkinson's and she was old. And I just thought all of her behaviour that I read about in this book, I was like, oh my God, my gran did all of this. And I partly thought it was just her being old.
Her getting
and now I
older.
realise all of that was purely Parkinson's, all the hands crippling up and the speech and the shuffling around, stopping and then going. And it was like, well, Muhammad Ali was the first really legendary person to come out with Parkinson's and talk about it. And then once Michael J. Fox joined him, they became a real force. Once you publicise something, then people get behind it and then money starts flowing in because, as he describes a lot in this book, there could be a cure. There are things, they're not far off discovering ways of slowing it down.
Yeah, he says there's not a cure, but there's
treatment.
And his twitches and stuff were down his left-hand side, and then he had that procedure,
Yeah.
the electrode procedure, to do it. And he said almost as soon as they did it on his left-hand side, the twitches stopped, but they started on his right-hand side, worse than they had ever been on his left-hand side.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I know, but But anyway, there's a lot of really complex medical stuff in here, but the fact is that with them advocating just more awareness, really helps people anyway, but putting more and more money into research is invaluable. And that's
he's got the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research.
Yeah.
That's established in his name. He's the director of it. It does make me wonder, it's good if somebody very high profile gets a condition like this because they already have the world to listen to them. Can you imagine like the conditions where there isn't a famous person who has it? It's so much harder for them to get publicity and money and recognition.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because he was saying in the 80s, like, I don't know, it was like 85% of all money or whatever it was, funding for research was going towards AIDS. And that's because loads of massively famous people were getting behind that, like Liz Taylor, Elton John, and that's how you get the money filtered towards your cause. You need famous people, and it's not cool to get behind Parkinson's, but it is. He pushed it forward, so his life is for an extra purpose, and that's why he calls himself Lucky Man, because it got his life focused, and he actually feels like he's doing something worthwhile. Bloody hell, it's hard though. It's hard. It's clearly difficult.
Yeah. When did he last act? It was a long time ago. It really has put an end to his acting career, hasn't it?
Yeah, but then I looked online because this book's published in 2002, but he actually has done quite a bit of voice work, like the Stuart Little and, animated things. And he's done the odd guest spot. And
Stuart Little, is he the voice of Stuart Little?
Is he? He's in it. I don't know if he is, but he's in it.
That's funny because I tell you what he says. One of the things, because he's small, he says that when the press turns against him, he says they say things like teensy weensy Michael J. Fox. And so the more they get fed up of him, the smaller he gets. And he said, he said, by the time of my wedding, he says, I was microscopic.
I read the acknowledgements at the back of this book because I'm so nerd-like, and he did write this whole book himself. He said, I did think about getting someone to help me, but I knew that it had to be my words. It had to be me saying all this. I was like, wow, you are really intelligent and a really good writer. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's like you said at the beginning, he's able to do anything.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Very, very creative.
Good. Another thing he says is that Parkinson's disease symptoms mean that he can't really smile. He can't really form facial expressions. So some of the time he says, I'm beaming on the inside, but you can't see it. And that's good to know. That's good to know because, like, when he's at that Coldplay concert, he may well be very happy, but you can't see it in his face.
No, but you don't see it in anybody's face at a Coldplay concert. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Thrift Shop Biography. We love making this podcast and we're absolutely thrilled that so many of you are already listening. You could really help us out by leaving us a review somewhere, wherever you listen to this podcast. And if you could share us, tell your friends about us, or drop some links on social media. We have a Facebook page called Thrift Shop Biography, so make sure you come over there to hear about the episodes first and what else we're up to. Okay, see you next week. And if you're new here, there are loads more episodes now to go and listen in the back catalogue, so make sure you go and enjoy them. Okay, thank you very much.